So we're going to be rocking the young Ludmila Pavlichenko gun out here, as they say in Mother Russia. So we got that gun. That's probably one of the best guns in the game right now, if not the best gun in the game. Probably going to end up getting there, but we're going to abuse it while we can. Hey, offline mode if it don't work out. So we're going to be utilizing that. That's going to be our main gun for killing bosses, and we can still pick off like small enemies with it if you like to play around with that concept. But our main gun for our larger groups of enemies is going to be the Flacker. That's going to work out really well with the synergy inside of our kit with all the splash damage bonuses. We're going to get into these good old skill breakdowns. You're going to know about the choices and the brains behind the skill tree. Alright, so this one's going to be like a quick power through type situation, explain things briefly for this, because the whole point of early game is to become as strong as possible. So the best way for Moze to become strong early game and not become gear dependent as she's leveling up is to go ahead and utilize her mech. Later on in the game, you're not going to be using this at all. So we're going down the Demolition Woman tree. So the Demolition Woman tree is going to go ahead and allow you to do big DPS while having good bulk inside of your mech. So you're going to be capitalizing on things that allow your mech to stay out longer, as well as get it back so that way you're able to go into the next fight with your mech. So what you want first off is deadlines is going to go ahead and allow you to stay inside the fight inside your mech. Then you're going to go ahead and put points into Grizzle. This is going to allow you to get your cooldown back for your mech. And then from here you have choices. You have the option of go ahead and go into your grenades with the splash damage. Now if you have good grenades somehow at 5 or 6, then you can dip out into this. 9 times out of 10 you're not going to have a good enough grenade at this point for you to go ahead and dip out into this good old skill tree. So you're going to go ahead and put the rest of your 3 points into Grizzle. And now you're maxed out on the efficiency that you can get for your Iron Bear, aka your mech warrior. And so now you have means of destruction. You can go and put 2 points into that. Now the reason why you go off into destruction now is because you're going to end up getting a really good grenade called Whispering Ice. Now this is going to be a grenade that you're going to be using for a lot of the game. It's one of the best grenades that you can get off of the storyline, if not the best grenade they can get off the storyline, because you don't really get too many. But this is a fantastic grenade. So from there you go and put 2 points into this. And now you have the option of getting Auto Bear. So Auto Bear is going to allow for your mech to stay out even when you hop out of it, so that way you provide another damage source for you, and it works out pretty decently. And from here you can go ahead and max out your means of destruction. And now you come to a point where you have your grenades up to a level where you're able to throw them about infinitely, depending on your grenades. When you get Whisper and Ice, you'll be able to throw it basically infinitely. And you have a really strong mech, and at this point go ahead and capitalize on Pull the Holy Pin. It's going to give you that crit chance for the grenades, give you more value, and then you can go ahead and maximize Vampire. Now this is going to give you a lot more sustain. Now at this point you have already collected pretty good items and you're progressing through the game, and you might even end up not using the mech that often at this point. The guns and the weapons that you're looking for are, one, the Whisper and Ice, which is a fantastic grenade, which you will automatically get, and you'll be spamming that. And then you want a good Torque shotgun. So this is a Torque shotgun. The best thing about this is its sticky mode. And in its sticky mode, where you press C4, these go ahead and stay inside the enemy, and they're able to stack up and do a lot of damage. And the aspect of this that works the best with Moze is the fact that it shoots 13 different pellets, and each one of those different pellets has an opportunity to apply means of destruction. So that will allow you to chain your shots way better, and also allows you to get your grenades back in a much smoother fashion, which allows you to go ahead and run through the good old game. And at this point, you'll just be relying on your Torque shotgun as well as your good old Whisper and Ice grenade. And you'll be able to power through the rest of the game with that, pick up other good stuff as you go along, and you'll be able to transition into the real in-game version of this build. And that is it for the good old early game. But we're going to hop into the real deal good old build. So let's hop into it. Alright, so we got the good old Hotshot build. This is going to be your in-game True Vault Hunter mode Mayhem 3 in conjunction build that's going to get you through that. If you do not want to use grenades, you want to use these as an accessory rather than a necessity. You will use them a little bit, by the way, but it's only to help out. So we're going to go ahead and talk on the first point where we do not have any capstones. So let's start off with the Bottomless mags. So Forge will provide you with 5% magazine per second. So this breaks down when we're using the Flakka and the Luda. It's probably going to be about 1 extra bullet per second. Now, that's not enough to go ahead and put 3 more points into this tree in order to get. Due to that, we're going to be utilizing Means of Destruction. This is going to be something that you're going to be throwing out these grenades in order to sustain the amount of ammo that you have inside of the magazine of your gun. And then also the Flakka will just proc this automatically. So that's why we do not go into that good old forge capstone. So now we're inside the Demolition Woman tree. Now short fuse. So there's 20% chance of doing 75% of the gun damage. This is going to work out really, really well with the gun like the Flakka that has multiple instances. That can work out really well for that, and it can work out okay for the Luda as well. This turns out to be about a 15% damage increase when you take the average of this. Now, in order to get to this, we had to put in 18 more points. And now, in order to help out 2 different guns, 18 more points means that we put another point in the Means of Destruction. By the way, you can put another point into this and remove a point out of this if you want to. You feel that works a little bit better for you. But you can put another point into Means of Destruction, and then you'd have to go ahead and put 2 more points into something over here. None of this stuff helps out gun damage. This barely helps out splash, which help out the Flakka a little bit. And then you have to put points into this stuff for the grenades. It's just a whole lot of stuff that does not actually help out your gun-oriented version of this build. So we leave the rest of this tree. And then we have the good old Shield of Retribution. So got the Shield of Retribution. And we have the Tenacious Defense perk, or Tenacious Defense skill. Now this skill I have barely seen proc, and you'll barely see it proc because you're not going to go down that often. And when you do go down, the extra 30% damage isn't really that insane of amount, because you're going to be stacking up Phalanx Doctrine the whole time anyway. So you're going to get a ton of your damage boost from that. And due to the class mods having Phalanx Doctrine inside most of them, you'll be able to go ahead and get your damage stacked up to ridiculous amounts. This will also heal you, which is going to keep you further and further away from Tenacious Defense and that proccing at all. So you don't need this. I haven't really even seen it proc when I was running this and testing out the different Moze setups. And this is why there are no capstones inside of this setup. So let's go ahead and hop into the other good old skills, and I'll give you the breakdown of why they were picked. Alright, so we're going to hop into these good old skill choices. So we put most of our points into Bottomless mags because we put most of our points into Bottomless mags, just like how my word was just Bottomless right there. I don't know where the rest of my syllables went. But we put all of our points into Bottomless mags due to the magazine size increase of the good old guns, which allows us to go ahead and sustain the damage way better, as well as the different damage boosts that are inside of this kit. The Shield of Retribution tree will work out pretty decently as well, but there are things in there that do not allow us to sustain our damage and make the gameplay more smooth. So go ahead and hop into the Bottomless tree choices. So we went with Cloud of Lead. Now Cloud of Lead, although it's probably around a 2.7, 2 point something increase in damage on average, it actually allows us to go ahead and get that ammo consumption down a little bit. And then that works in conjunction with our Means of Destruction skill, which just allows us to go ahead and chain this ammo and make sure this is a fluid, smooth running gun build. And then so our other choices, we have Daka Bear, which we're not using for Iron Bear at all. We don't use Iron Bear at all inside the setup. You can use it as a panic button, but I haven't panicked in a long time, so I don't know. I don't even have this spec most of the time. And then you have Matched Set. So Matched Set at max is going to end up getting you a benefit of 20% magazine size, because our 2 guns, the Luda and the Flakka, are actually different manufacturers. And so that extra 20% magazine size is going to be around 4 extra bullets for the Flakka, and maybe 2, 3, depending on how it averages out onto the Luda. And then you'll actually end up getting more ammo shots with the Cloud of Lead in comparison to the match set bonus. So no reason not to pick up Cloud of Lead in order to give you that little bit of extra damage and then that ammo consumption reduction. And then you have the Stoke the Embers. Your whole kit is fire damage, so there's 30% fire damage right here. You are able to regenerate a little bit of extra ammo by putting 1 point into this. You're going to be critting relatively often, so this just helps out with the general flow of the build. And we just need 1 more point to put into something. This works out well because it allows us to go ahead and get our switch off relatively smoothly, and it's just 1 point into whatever because nothing else really benefits us that much. This works out pretty well and allowed us to switch around our weapons at a smoother pace. So at this point, we put the 5 points into Scorching RPMs. Scorching RPMs is going to give us that fire rate, which is always great, and then the critical hit damage. And we don't put any points into this just because we actually are going to end up aiming with the Luda. If you don't want to aim and literally just want to run and gun with the flacker, which you can do, you can take a point out of Scorching RPMs, or even take a point out of the Iron Bank and put a point into Rushing Offense. So we got the Iron Bank, went ahead and maxed that bad boy out, going to give us the max magazine size for fluid gameplay. So we got Click because it allows us to go ahead and get extra gun damage. Now, something really good that you can actually do with Moze is due to the means of destruction skill, you're actually able to manage how much ammo that you have generating. Most of the time, you'll stay around a certain amount. So as you're shooting, just go ahead and throw out a grenade and you'll see your ammo start to go up. And then you shoot, your ammo goes up, you shoot, your ammo goes up. And you're able to manipulate how much bonus damage that you're getting from this good old trait. So that's why we have this maxed out. And you can jump around. Once again, you can put points into Click, or you can max out means of destruction. Relatively easy to do. Doesn't take much micromanagement, and you don't really need to, but it is really, really, really good. So the Shield of Retribution first row choices are relatively easy. We have Selfless Vengeance. Now this is for when you reload the gun. We don't reload at all, so this is irrelevant. We have Security Bear, which we don't use the bear at all, so this is irrelevant as well. And then we have Armored Infantry. This is going to go to give you the most gun damage, and the damage reduction is also really good to get. And now we have Drowning in Brass. We have this maxed out. So at max, is going to go ahead and give you 60% gun damage as well as 7.5% less fire rate. Now, there's actually a good thing to have lesser fire rate than higher in some of these cases. So the reason is the core of this Moze build is to be able to go ahead and do as much damage as possible while being able to manage your ammo. If you have too much of fire rate, then you're actually going to go ahead and shoot yourself in the foot with the ammo because you're not going to be able to regenerate enough of it throughout the uses of your means of destruction. And then also it'll be harder to go ahead and manage your click, which is going to go ahead and give you that good old gun damage with whatever level your magazine is at. It's going to give you more and more gun damage. And then also, most of the time, you're probably not going to be spam clicking the button. So you're not really going to benefit that much from the added fire rate because you're using guns that are not going to be shooting a whole ton of bullets in order to kill a certain target. Now, if you're using something like an SMG or something along those lines, then you would hold down the button for long amounts of time and do different instances of a lot of damage. And even still in those cases, gun damage probably benefits you more. But having slightly less fire rate is actually not a bad thing at all because you're probably not using it anyway in most cases. Alright, so we have Thin Red Line. This is going to go ahead and take out from your max HP. Now this is going to go ahead and apply to your max HP, well, remove from your max HP before anything is reduced at all, before the whole 1 HP artifact, before any of those things are applied. This goes ahead and applies that straight to your shield. This is going to be a massive buff in your defenses. And then you have the Flat Off Ingenuity. So this is going to go ahead and give you more max shield, and it's going to go ahead and give you shock damage resistance. So we do not have the Flat Off Ingenuity maxed out or even too many points into that due to the fact that we are actually using the Transformer Shield. Now the Transformer Shield is going to go ahead and allow you to get not only 100% shock damage resistance, which is the main thing that destroys shields. You'll be completely resistant to that, as well as you'll be able to absorb 40% of the bullets. So human enemies most of the time will not be doing too much damage to you, as well as it helps out with the whole general kit of you maintaining your ammo and just blowing up targets. It is a beautiful shield for this setup. If you're not using the Transformer Shield, then possibly can put more points into the good old Flat Off Ingenuity, but in this case we are using this for the most efficiency. Unlike how I just said that word, which was very scuffed. But now we have 1 point into experimental munitions, so this is going to go ahead and give you 10% more incendiary damage. Nice little damage boost. And we have points into desperate measures because of course we want that extra damage with being at low HP. We're able to stay at low HP because we have a good old broken artifact here. This is going to go ahead and provide you with a whole bunch of shield, which synergizes super well with the build, as well put you at 1 HP. So this is going to give you the max damage that you can possibly get. If you do not have one of these artifacts, having the elemental damage boost by itself will work out pretty well, or having like a shield that reduces your maximum amount of HP. Do I have one on me right now? This is one, but this is not really, there's a legendary variant of this that works out really well also. But having a shield that lowers your max HP, you can play around with those different concepts. But this is going to be your best in slot artifact. This is just a random find, extremely disgusting. And there's probably a few sub effects that could be switched out that might be slightly better. But this is super, super good. If you do have to pick between the reserve or the elemental damage boost, the reserve will allow you to get way more bulk. This is going to work out pretty well for just running and gunning throughout the stages, and it's going to provide you with a little bit more damage using desperate measures inside of your Shield of Retribution tree. And then the elemental damage boost is going to be better for killing the bosses. If you have a good way at applying the elemental damage boost that doesn't seem too tedious to you, this is going to work out well for mapping and running through the game as well. Most of the time you'll probably be utilizing the luck oriented artifact, which will give you a lot more benefit in picking out different legendaries if you do not have your build maxed out yet and you still want to look for a few things. So let's finish off this explanation of the good old skill tree, baby. So we got the deadlines, which is irrelevant because you're not using Iron Bear. We got Grizzled, which is irrelevant because you're not using Iron Bear. We have 5 points into Fire in the Sky Den, so this is going to provide you with 50% bonus incendiary damage. So this is going to apply to not only your grenades but also to your flacker. It's a little bit more of a boost. And then we have Means of Destruction, which we talked about already. This is all about managing your ammo and allowing you to go ahead and have the smoothest gameplay possible with just using guns, baby. You're going to be using grenades a little bit as well, but mostly is a gun build. So that is the good old skill tree. All right, we wrapping it up out here. We got the Bloodletter. Bloodletter is going to apply everything that would happen to your health to your shield instead. It's going to keep you nice and healthy. Going to keep you nice and thick out here in these Borderlands 3 streets. All right. So now you got the Mirv Hex Grenade or the Reoccurring Hex Grenade. This is going to be, it's probably the best grenade in the game right now. It tracks your enemies and it applies the effect multiple different times. So this bad boy is going to, well, in my particular case, mine freezes because it's ice, but it's going to go ahead and apply that effect over and over again. It's splash damage, so that way it will go ahead and apply the good old Means of Destruction to give you that ammunition back. And then it also has a random chance of critting, which will again go ahead and give you a chance of getting your random ammunition back, which is super, super insane for this type of grenade. And due to it being splash damage, you have another synergy, which means that the splash damage does incendiary damage. So that means that not only will it be able to apply ice to you if you throw it at your feet, you have a chance of applying fire. And you see right there, we got both in that one throw. It doesn't always happen like that. That was just real convenient. But yeah, you're able to apply both of those. So that means that you'll be able to get as much damage as you want to from your fire weapons if you're running elemental damage boost type relic. And you'll be able to do as much damage as you want to on your ice type weapons. So it is insane, super good. Get yourself one of these if you can. So yeah, we already talked about the main weapons. It's going to be the Flacker and the Lyuda. There are other weapons that are decent for this build. These are going to be your main two. They're definitely way further ahead. Something like the Rowan's Call is going to work out pretty decent right now. It's okay. Not a bad option. If you pick up one of these and you don't have the other two guns, you don't have to feel bad about it. It will be able to help you progress till you get to the point where you have the other guns. And then Lucian's Call for this build is going to be slightly worse than Rowan's Call. Rowan's Call did get a buff right now. And then you want to do as much damage as you possibly can. On average, this is going to do more damage, the Rowan's Call. And you'll be able to kill things faster because you have more TPS. But that is the overall build setup. I'm showing you guys the good old Guardian rank. Now, I played mostly offline, so I got the 7 times more EXP from playing offline. So I did not, no life this game. I've been doing other stuff. I went outside exactly 1 time, all right? So, little adventures out here. It's wild. But yeah, was able to level up relatively quickly doing that. And that is it for this good old video. For this good old build. If you guys have any questions about anything, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Let me know if the pacing was good for this, if it was too long-winded, if there's information that you think I could have left out, information you think that was redundant. Just let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions or anything, which speaking of redundant, if you have any things that you want to say in the comments below, I'll be in there answering any questions and talking to you guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, if you could leave a like, it helps out the channel quite a bit. And if you do like the other content on the channel, subscribing if you want to see the notifications, so that way you can see the good old stuff whenever I upload. So that is it for your boy. I appreciate y'all watching this video because this video is relatively long, and that's it. I'm outie.